here. I got Danielle. I got Joel. We
We
got the
got Victor
production.
in the house. We got
We-
David in the house.
We got our weatherman. We don't have Clark this week though. Clark is
Oh.
on sabbatical, and we're gonna keep the show moving here. Welcome, and everyone who has not been here before, thank you for tuning in and giving
Yeah.
us a little bit of your time on this Tuesday morning. And we're part of Purple Acorn. You can check out all things at purpleacorn.io. Follow us on LinkedIn, follow us on YouTube. We turn this into a podcast every week. We have clips, we have it all. And most importantly, engage in the comments, get involved. That's
in the
what
comments.
it's all about. I am back. But one thing I'm doing, this is the first time I've done this in a long time. I'm sitting. I don't know if you guys know this. I stand for every
I'm
single
standing.
podcast.
Oh, yeah.
You're standing, Joel?
I'm standing.
And Danielle, are you sitting?
I'm sitting.
No, but you're outstanding.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'm just
Thank
sitting today.
you.
I'm trying to see it. I know it does the lights, and you can see the switches over here. I mean,
Wow.
We got
What
we got
prompted-
Benjamin Vissa in the house from Germany.
What prompted
Let's
this
shout out to
seating
Germany.
session?
I'm
The
just
seated.
I'm just a little tired today. I'm
Oh,
just
yeah.
I'm just not feeling my standing
Wow.
self. So I'm gonna give it a shot. Oh God.
You're not feeling your standard self. Emphasis on stand.
I know, but I usually have a standing desk because it keeps me engaged and it keeps me active.
What's
And
up,
I also,
CJ?
here's
CJ's
a
in
fun
the
fact, Joel. I use a balance board during my show for a couple of reasons. One, the balance board on the floor keeps me engaged, and it keeps my core engaged, and that's how I get
Wow.
my workout a couple of times a week by
Paul?
standing and doing podcasting.
Guys, look,
Pro
I
tip. For
I don't
those of
think
you who
people
are a
know
little
that
bit
this is
older.
a real live show.
Stop
Sometimes
talking over each other.
No, this is look. That's my job, all right. I'm monitoring the chat, and I will shout over you. Mike in the house, guys. This is a real live show, just for everyone out there.
Greetings from
Ooh,
Pittsburgh.
Dallas.
And
I really want to go to
Michelle?
Dallas, guys.
It's not that exciting. I'm telling you, and I'm
Like-
sorry, Craig Fisher and crew. Dallas is
I've heard so much.
it's fine. I mean, I'll take Austin over Dallas, but I would take Dallas over Houston.
Houston. Is that how you pronounce it?
Houston?
Earth
Houston?
to Houston.
No, in New York it's
They'd be
Houston.
like, what's Houston?
Houston. All right, this is enough of that. Let's get this show rolling, everybody. All right. This one is a fun one because it's going to stir up some controversy here a little bit. But guess what? Hey, Home Depot execs, once a quarter, you got to go to the office and slum it with, you're all on the floor workers here. I think this is a great thing, right? It kind of goes back to undercover boss. Anybody who's in a corporate office at a large organization, a retail organization, should spend some time on the floor where they're in the trenches, on the ground employees. This is where you pick up those nuances. This is where you pick up those subtleties, those things that don't come through in reports or in sales reports. It's that interaction, seeing how they interact with customers, seeing how they interact with each other, and just like looking at the store, simple things. And it's the art of hospitality that you could apply anywhere. How are they treating customers? Are they giving them a good experience? So this article was in, the most coveted, reputable magazine, newspaper in New York City, the New York Post.
My first fun fact, my first feature was in the New York Post. Well, my first really big one, anyway.
Well, I have no problem with them doing this, but if I'm pulling up the article on my own screen here, there was one thing I didn't like how, here, this is a line from the article I did not like, so rag on this Rag's writer. Starting in the fourth quarter of this year, even workers will have to schlep onto the gray floor and don the orange apron 4 days a year. Schlep? Only in New York did you drop a schlep reference in an article. Guys, what do you think about this?
That's funny. So I actually really I like this. I think that other companies that do this tend to find a lot of success too with employee engagement. I think that if you put people similarly to like COVID when we all went virtual, you go from putting people in offices at different levels, very hierarchical, to putting people on Zoom in boxes where each box usually is an equal size. I think it's an equalizer. And personally, like my dad, he owns a business, as we've heard, and we need to go to RPM Raceway to
Long
challenge each other and see who wins. He goes to the office a lot, and he is the owner.
Good morning. Good morning. It's the Halloween show. Maybe we look a little bit different. I'm Unicorn. And Danielle, what are you?
I'm Daphne from Scooby-Doo.
Oh, look at fantastic. And we have some other fun surprises for everyone today. Well, good morning, everybody. It is Tuesday, and we're happy that you're here. Danielle, I'm happy that you're here. I'm not happy that Joel isn't here, but Joel is off to the UK for a family wedding, so we wish him safe travels, and we will have him back next week. And everyone out there, thank you for tuning in with us this fine Tuesday morning, the last Tuesday in the month of October. We'll be back next Tuesday for Election Day here in the U.S. We will maybe make some political predictions. No, we're not doing that on the show.
What are we gonna wear next Tuesday?
We should dress as our favorite politician.
I voted sticker.
That is a good idea. Well, everyone out there, happy almost Halloween. Well, some people celebrate the weekend before, some celebrate the weekend after. When did you celebrate?
I celebrated Friday night.
Oh, what'd you do?
Well, my friend had an apartment party because that's what we do here in New York City, and I went as a dancing queen, and my friend went as Barbie with her boyfriend Ken, and it was really cute. Super cute.
We're still pushing the Barbie Ken 2023 costumes.
Narrative.
We're still narrative,
Yeah.
that whole thing.
Big
Well, everyone out there, please jump in the comments. Share some pictures. Tell us what you're dressing up as.
Yeah.
We have a party. We have a party on Saturday night here in the burbs. A suburban house party. Ain't no party like a suburban house party. And we'll share some pictures, maybe, depending. But everyone out there, we are part of Purple Acorn. Head over to purpleacorn.io. You can find out more. Follow us on LinkedIn. We're on YouTube. We turn this fun show into a podcast that comes out every week. Engage in the comments. Chat it up.
We want to know your costumes. Tell us your costumes.
Tell us your costumes. Danielle's going to keep... someone's trying to pitch Joel for a virtual assistant. Yeah, that's a great use of comments, folks. Joel might need a personal assistant. And I don't know how he does it. That dude, his TikTok presence, his Instagram, his LinkedIn. He is a machine. He's definitely using some other kind of technology.
But also, he doesn't really write long captions. So I feel like half the time it takes me to post is just writing the post or like writing the caption.
Yeah, and a lot of his stuff, he's like a DJ that plays other people's music. So he has his own stuff, he produces his own stuff, but then he's also remixing.
He went viral with like posting someone else's video.
Why not? No one gives a shit anymore on social media. You don't need receipts. No one's fact checking you. But that's a topic. That's a topic for another time. So let's do this, folks. Let's get into the show. It's time for headlines. All right. Well, I'm gonna lead this one off. There's a new report out in the UK talking about work-life balance is key to winning over the Gen Z workforce, says new research. So I'm gonna take a step back and not preach because I've stopped making these generalizations about Gen Z that they're lazy, they're entitled. Of course, there's some are, but there's some in every frickin' generation. The smart approach now, knowing that this generation is going to take over the majority of the workforce. Right, my generation, my Gen Z, we're getting older. We're in the leadership and the management roles. So figuring out the best way to work with this generation versus fighting it and being the grumpy old men boomers in the room here. That's what I think this report is really about. They definitely talk about the entitlement and the laziness in the article, but what they're doing is they're saying how could the management work with this generation? Does it come down to transparency, right? It comes down to values, redefining what culture means. Danielle, do you have a chance to take a look at this? I'd love to hear your thoughts as our resident, expert.
Thank you.
Resident Gen Z expert here.
Thank you. I think you're spot on. I love to see that we're taking steps forward, trying to focus on the positive, trying to focus on how do we meet these people where they're at. Mm-hmm. And also, one of the things about speaking about Gen Z is oftentimes other generations will chime in and be like, but this would be great for all generations, right? Like, this is what I want too as a millennial and a Gen Xer and even boomers, right? Like, it's not that Gen Z has started the trend towards work-life balance or integration or more mental health support or whatever it might be that we're talking about. It's not that we started this movement. We're just continuing it. We're just carrying on the torch from prior generations, and we're just being louder about it because we have a lot less to lose and a lot less at stake. And so if we can help to, move the movement along and we can actually start having more useful discussions about solutions, like that is to me, a win, a huge win.
Exactly. It's changing your mindset to work with and not against. And I think another piece the article points out is this kind of, I don't even know what you want to call it. Not a myth or it's like this narrative of lazy. And I don't think it's lazy. I think when we really have to think about it, I think it's efficient. And we're talking outcome over hours. And I think when more management embraces outcome over hours and gives employees the tools, regardless of their generation, and says, listen, I hired you and I trust you to do the job that we need you to do. I don't care where you do it. I don't care when you do it. As long as you're responsive to emails, meetings, and all that stuff and getting the work done and continuing to do your job well, I'm not going to sit here and count every hour. I think that's a very old style when people would punch in and they would clock out, right? Like that was kind of the mentality that adds to this entitlement and lazy. But guess what? If I'm doing my work and getting shit done, who cares?
Yeah, and I think part of it too is like the motivation on the part of the worker is like if I know that my contribution isn't going to make any difference, then I'm a lot less motivated to actually do it. And funny enough, I was at a meetup last night with a
How?
bunch of HR peeps. Tracy Borson, she puts these people together. It's very fun. So yeah, we were talking about how like she had been in corporate and she was like, I was doing so much BS. Like I was doing all this work that just was not moving the needle forward on anything and had no real contribution. And I kind of just questioned like, what was the point of that? And so I think that with Gen Z, we're a lot more conscious of what is the point of the work that I'm doing and having this desire, this like intrinsic motivation to want to change things and move the world forward in a positive way. But also, if there's work that we're doing that isn't doing that or that isn't moving the organization forward, then we're not going to want to do it. And it's kind of like that's the type of work that should be eliminated or should be, automated. Or we need to find new ways to reframe that kind of work or restructure it.
These are the companies that are going to continue to grow, continue to win, the ones that innovate, the ones that adapt, the ones that listen to their employees and not get stuck in these old ways of thinking. And the guard is changing. The guard is changing. So, I mean, just get with the program, folks. And then we're not saying everything has to be, all right, we're gonna take a step back. It's always gonna be 4-day work week, everyone's remote all the time, right? Like you have to do what's right for your company. I think the big takeaway here is to listen and embrace versus fight it. Would you say the same?
Retweet.
Retweet. Yeah. Embrace, right? Embrace. Because that's what it's going to be all about. And I truly believe that, like, when I talk about culture, I think employees, regardless of their generation, they want to feel valued. They want to know that their work means something, and they want to have a clear career path, that they have a trajectory within their company, and that their work is meaningful. And those aren't, like, hard things to talk about, but they're hard things to implement and execute daily.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Unless you're having conversations with people about what they want and you're open to adapting.
Yeah,
I think
just
that's
be open to change. So, I mean, when you go to these HR meetups and you're having, cross-generational conversations, when you're talking to some of the older folks in the room, what's that litmus test? Are they open? Do they want to hear your thoughts? Do they want to know what Danielle is thinking as an expert in the Gen Z workforce space?
I mean, it depends on the room. And I also think it depends. Like, I mean, I find myself in a lot of rooms with people like that, who want to engage in that sort of conversation. So, but I'm also, I put myself in those situations. Like I naturally through the content that I post,
Right.
I attract that, what's that thing? It's like you attract
Like attracts like?
the vibe, your vibe attracts your tribe. That's what it was. Yeah, and I think that's very true for me. I find myself in those types of circles of like people who want things to change.
That's what we want. We want to be with change makers. We want to align with them. And I think it's a very positive article. And we're going to link it up in the comments here. Anybody that wants to check it out, this is from a UK research. And the UK is actually doing a lot of innovation in this space too. There's a lot of companies. And I think, I don't know don't quote me on this, the government supporting, even endorsing 4-day work. What are your thoughts on the 4-day work week, just in general?
I mean, listen, there's a lot of research to support that it's a positive change, that burnout has gone down, that like companies that implement it have much more engaged and motivated employees. There's obviously this like fear that if we work one day less, then eventually, things will go back to the way they were now. I don't necessarily agree. And I also think that we have to test it in order for that to be true. And also, there's so many different ways to do the 4-day work week. It
Right. It doesn't
doesn't
have to
just
always
have
be
to be
Friday.
Friday, right? It could be like on
Monday.
a shifting schedule. It could be every 9 days you get one day off. Like there's so many different ways to do it. So I think the conversation is ever evolving. And actually, we're having Dave Whelan on this Future of Work Alliance that I'm a part of on I think this Friday or next Friday to talk about the 4-day work week. He's the CEO
Exciting.
of the thing.
Awesome.
4-day work
Cool.
week global.
Cool. Let's move it on. Danielle, what are you talking about today?
Yeah. So today we're talking about Dunkin' Donuts having the most unhinged social media around Halloween.
Funkin' Go Nuts.
And it's really interesting because I went through some of the collateral and the stuff that they're posting, and it really is it's very promiscuous. It's like like I could read one. There's a donut with kind of it's like a spider donut, and it says people be like, LOL, who's this diva? And then the next one is, why don't you meet me in the parking lot, pal?
What?
It's like, whoa, like that's like, yeah. So it's interesting because I feel like social media and marketing is that one area of business that Gen Z is like really having a moment in. And it started with Duolingo with Zaria Parvez, who,
Dua Lipa?
yeah, exactly. They actually had Dua Lipa involved in a
Oh,
campaign.
Duolingo. Okay.
Yeah, Duolingo. And like they basically handed the reins over to a Gen Zer to run the social media, and they've seen wild success with it. And many other companies have kind of followed suit.
Wendy's crushes it.
Exactly. And
The fast food brands are really that whole dynamic when they're all messing with each
like
other.
the Taco Bell and the Wendy's.
Oh, and then they chime in. But the Wendy specific, because they've embodied the character of Wendy, and she's a sassy,
Yeah.
young, whatever she's doing.
Yeah, and honestly, it's really hard to get a brand to stand out on social media because there are so many. It's interesting because you look at it from the perspective of Dunkin' Donuts. It's like this household name. It could be that it's kid friendly and it's like it's family friendly, and then they like go on social media and they kind of like they're playing with a household name. Like it's not a small
It's a little reckless.
name.
It's
Yeah,
a brand. It's your brand
like,
reputation.
on one hand you could say it's reckless, and on the other hand you could say, well, it's actually making them stand out from the crowd and like having this like this moment. Like there's articles being written about that.
Yeah, we hear you, Serge. Thank you.
So I don't know. What do you think about this?
So I have a couple thoughts here, and I want to go back to something. The Empire State Building did something pretty cringe. Their social media the other day. And I don't know exactly what it was. There was another structure, another famous structure in the United States that has a social media account, and they were celebrating an anniversary. And the Empire State Building retweeted back to them, "Who cares?" Like that's not on brand for the Empire. The Empire State Building is this iconic structure in New York City. It lights up to support all the good causes, all the sports teams, and then it's being smug and kind of being a dick. Like I don't think the Empire State Building is that kind of character. The Empire State Building, that doesn't embody it. So that was a fail on that part. And brands, to your point, really have to be careful here. They really have to be careful of who is manning the controls, who is writing these posts. There's a delicate balance between trying to be funny, being funny. I mean, the life I live, believe me, right? Like being cringe, saying something that's just a little off color. I mean, this represents your brand and the people that support it. Now, with that being said, Dunkin', if you go back to the Ben Affleck, the Matt Damon commercials, Tom Brady those are great. They nailed it. It was on brand. It was perfect. They kind of made fun of themselves, self-deprecating. Like it was great. This, I think they crossed the line.
Well, it's interesting too because we're talking about different levels of it, right? So this is obviously like an entire campaign. Like this is not just your Gen Z employee tweeting out recklessly. This is an entire Halloween campaign that is around their fall menu and the Halloween menu. So it's not, and it's likely went through several levels of approval. So to me, we're in this time within social media and marketing where it's just everything is an experiment. And you kind of, as from a marketer standpoint, like I view this as like, okay, they're testing something, they're seeing if it works or not for their brand, and at the end of the day, they can always go back to the bread and butter of like the Tom Brady commercials, you know what I
Right.
mean? And they really hit it out of the ballpark with those commercials. So I feel like at this point they were primed for some sort of experiment, and
They got
maybe
their
this
hopes
one
up.
didn't hit.
They got their hopes up. And
That's
Nikki
what my
Russell,
thing is.
Nikki Russell's chiming in. Nikki Russell. She's chiming in the comments. Brand consistency, right? Are you keeping that voice? Are you building a character? Are you building a brand? Let's put a pin in this. But I will say, I mean, I moved on from Dunkin' Donuts. I don't even like Starbucks anymore. We do our own stuff. Dunkin' Donuts is mud water. Get your act together, Dunkin'. You're not doing yourself any
Yeah,
good.
it's like
It's
water.
he's back. He's back from a sabbatical. Let's get to it. It's time for Clark.
What is up? Thanks for having me back. Yes, my sabbatical, Adam. I appreciate that. Topic of the day is very on brand. What's that? Oh, I don't have a costume. I don't have one today. I'm a grump. It's the Hot 100 with the Grinch, Clark. Yeah. Uh, so today we're talking making boring topics unboring for your buyers. So it's a good, interesting segue from the Dunkin' Donuts chat. I talk to recruiters, both corporate and agency, all day, every day. And a lot of the pushback I get with coaching them on content, helping them write content, especially for LinkedIn, is I don't want to talk about boring stuff. I don't want to be boring and just talk about hiring. Well, what do you think a recruiter does, right? You help people that are struggling with hiring or need to hire people hire. And hiring is fairly broken. And so you can kind of talk about the mundane things of what you fix with an interview process or making offers. And it could actually be interesting to your ideal prospect because they aren't doing it correctly as, in their current day to day. So what's obvious to you could be a mystery to them. So instead of just saying, what you do, talk about, how you do it, how you solve their current hiring problems, for clients like them. So you want to make the complex things, the complex for them simple, right? So not just highlighting the services and the pricing models, right? But dive into kind of what that looks like in real time, right? Show, don't tell, right? Like why did a candidate fall through, right? Why their job description, isn't attracting the right candidates, right? Or why their interview process is too long, and share those stories of your successful placements and how you help the client turn around the hiring process. That's what people want to buy from, right? It's not just, hey, we recruit top talent, or posting a bunch of motivational stuff and trying to be Gary Vee, or posting about National Hug Day or what costume you're wearing. I'm just kidding. It's you don't want to you want to show how you win, right? Buyers buy from people that are winning and can solve their problems, right? And so deliver those insights, share all that, show what they're missing out on in terms of a more successful hiring process, getting the talent in the door that they want, or why maybe they're losing good talent and it's going out the door, right? Show how you're solving the relevant problems. That's how you're going to create content that's going to drive revenue and drive your market to behaviors that you want from them. So that's what I got, y'all.
Fascinating. So we're in this age of social selling, right? There's some people that do it really well and over the top, like Darren McKee out there on LinkedIn, and like there's a balance of educating, informing, and entertaining with content, right?
Yep.
There's folks. Joel does it great on this show. How do you take a mundane topic such as hiring and make it entertaining? How do you make it interesting? And pulling it all together. So there is a balance, but so many people, I mean, we take it for granted. The three of us here, four of us here, everyone, we're creators. We've been doing this for a long time and it's in our blood. But so many other people out there, they see everyone doing it. They see it driving leads. It's a lead magnet when done right, but they don't know how to do it. And there's pieces. Danielle, what are some of your thoughts, best practices here?
I think that there's like a rule where it's like 1 in every 4 posts should be, like a social, like selling post, whether it be like a brand ad or your own stuff that you're selling. Honestly, I think it should be less than that. I think it should be like 1 in every 10 posts. If, like, I think it's different if you have a podcast and you're promoting your own show or something. But if you're promoting
I
like
don't know what that is.
a course that you a course that you sell or something that where you're really selling something, I think it should be like a little bit less than 1 in 4.
But let's yeah, I mean, like, let's think about it. Why are most people here on social media, especially on LinkedIn? They're trying to sell something, right? Let's be real about it. We're trying to sell something. We're trying to sell
Right.
our brand. We're trying to sell a product. We're trying to sell a course. We're trying to sell a job. We're trying to sell something. So figuring out the right way to do that, that's going to speak to your target audience, do it in a compelling way. Don't make it cringe, right? These are tough balances. So Clark, what are some of the things you're hearing from kind of these new creators in your course, in the digital recruiter course, and how do you work with them to find their voice?
Yeah, and it's a great question, and Danielle has a point. The call to actions, and that's one of the things I teach them not to do, is don't just say, "Hey, if you need a great recruiter, like message me at the end of every post," because that is cringeworthy. And so, how
It
can
doesn't
you?
work either.
It doesn't. It's you want to sell without selling, right? So these stories and sharing the insights, and it's almost think of it as like I tell them, think of it as a behind the scenes. Right, people love like the behind. I'm a Boston Bruins fan. I love hockey. They have behind the B, right?
Mm.
And that's like you see the interviews with the players and all that. Like the players aren't saying, "Hey, go buy tickets to our next game." They're just showing who they are, what's going on, and give an insider's look. That's what, to me, the best content and the recruiters that are having the content perform and turn into more leads and turn into revenue. They're kind of giving the behind the scenes of what's going on their day to day with their conversations with clients, with candidates. And if you can bring that voice out, that's what I help them do, is kind of bring those stories out, articulate them, and organize them. And you're giving the behind the glimpse of of the day in the life of a recruiter, which sounds super boring to 99.9% of the people out there, but to your ideal next hiring manager that's had terrible experiences with recruiters, or if you're a corporate and you can't find the right people in the door, you stand out and you resonate, and they're going to follow along. And that's who you're talking to.
Yeah.
Your next best client, not the world.
It's
Clark,
appealing to emotion. And also LinkedIn, I'm part of the creators program, so they always send us stuff that we should be posting. Right now, obviously it's video, but also right now it's like post a 9 to 5 post, because people want to see like behind the scenes of what you do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Clark, who's standing out to you now? Who's doing this well? Let's get some flowers, as the kids say.
Ooh, well, my friend Keely Flood, I think he's a sales coach. He is a sales coach. Excuse me. He coaches a call in our group on every Tuesdays as well. I think he's been leveling up his content significantly. And again, I like the people that don't have a million. I love Joel. I love you. I love all three of you. But the people that have the under 10,000 followers, under 15, I'm always kind of keeping track. He does a great job. Kind of other coaches in my circle, I've always liked Will McGee has done a really good stuff.
Oh, Will's great.
Posting content, and I've worked with Kim Henderson a lot. Like, she really knows her stuff and has a crazy background. And I think her stuff is really evolving to kind of show more of that expertise. And that's kind of more in the recruitment coaching world. And obviously have a bunch of digital recruiter clients. Shout out Joe Seabach, who was a professional poker player. He just had a post go viral, and he's in the program right now. And he took my advice. This is what this topic was based on, was him not wanting to post the boring stuff. He leaned into it. He did. And it blew up.
Well, I mean, that's also niching down, right? And then that's another topic too. Are you going wide for everybody? Are you niching down to your ICP? Yeah. And then how do you take that content and make it somewhat engaging and entertaining? It doesn't always have to be over the top entertaining, but how do you make that content engaging and thought provoking to speak to those people? We're not talking about the big time creators out there who the BS post.
You don't have to be Joel. You don't need 2 million followers or whatever.
No, you don't need to write things like, just remember that candidates are human. You don't need that. You got to niche down. Clark, what else is coming up? What do you got cooking?
Ooh, we got cooking up. No, we're just doing what we do. Digital Recruiter. You can check us out, digitalrecruiter.io. Hit me up on LinkedIn, Clark Wilcox. Again, shoot me a message if you want help. No, I'm just kidding. I won't do that call to action, but definitely connect with me. And yeah, we do some cool stuff with sales, automation, content. So check us out.
Awesome. Everyone check out Clark. Clark, thank you for your wisdom and insights. Awesome. Let's get to the roundup. Yeah. You
Yeah.
like that, don't you? You like that?
I like when you sing for me.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm sober too, so that's it's usually better in that. So let's get to it. SourceCon just happened. I was following our dude Evan White out there. A lot of other friends, Brian Fink out there. It looked like a lot of fun. We're gonna have Jim on a little bit. He's behind SourceCon. He's gonna talk about the wrap up. I saw some karaoke videos. Did you see those karaoke videos?
I did. They were wild. They made me,
Wild.
honestly, FOMO. Huge.
FOMO at the mouth. I mean, it was absolute. Nikki, were you there? Was Nikki Russell out there? That was cool. And a fast follow to that coming up. We have ERE out in Anaheim. I'm going to be heading out to the left coast in a couple of weeks. We have
Conference.
We have Michael Glenn is coming on. That's in November. We're going to talk about that. I am going to be doing interviews for Purple Acorn, HR Morning Show, podcast out there. Let's give a little shout out to also Talent and Tiara's ceremony. Congrats to our friends over at ERIN and Virtual HR for being finalists. That's exciting. And then we have
I
TA
don't have
Week.
the soundboard, so I can't do it.
Yeah, wake up, Ben. And then we have TA Week coming in February. Who's going out there? I'm not. Are you?
I don't think so. I
think Joel
I did
might.
just get a potential speaking thing for March, but no, nothing in February yet.
Yeah, and then we got the big boy, the big one coming up. We got Transform, and we are working on some really cool things. And we're not ready to discuss them yet. We're not ready to drop the alpha. But I will tell you, it's going to be awesome. I'm partnering with Greenhouse. It's going to be exciting. We are doing a lot. And we also have a recap coming up from SourceCon. We ready for that?
I'm ready.
Are you ready?
I want to see it.
Yeah, but there's an interesting thing. I mean, I am also considering, not this year, I would like to go to CES.
I've never been.
No, neither. It's a lot of Vegas. It's a lot of Vegas lately. Can we switch it up?
Vegas it's heavy. It's a lot. Why don't we go to San Diego or something?
Just switch it up. Because Vegas is easy. It's an easy thing. There's lots of hotels. There's lots of convention centers. People make it into a weekend. They do a whole thing. But I've been to Vegas 3 times in the last 12 months. But prior to that, I haven't been to Vegas in 10 years. Go figure.
I would do a conference in the woods.
But is that going to fly?
Glamping.
I think we need a Brooklyn conference. I think that would be cool in our backyard.
Yeah, why is
cool
nothing in New York?
Because it's really expensive. The problem is the hotels in New York are absurdly expensive. That's a problem.
I just went to the refinery.
Awesome spot.
Yeah, stunning.
Mm-hmm.
Gorgeous. It was ZCon was there, which is a Gen Z conference. All the people on the panels are Gen Zers. I'll be doing a roundup of that.
Yeah, that looked pretty cool. You look like you got glammed up over there. What was going on?
It was cool. I mean, so I got invited by LinkedIn because they were the main sponsor of it, which is very rare.
Look at you getting on a LinkedIn list. That's super VIP.
I'm a LinkedIn creator. So they basically they had a booth where they were creating content, and they had invited a bunch of influencers and LinkedIn creators. And then they also were showcasing video, because video is popping off on LinkedIn. If you did not know that, post some videos. And they were showcasing creators like me, like a few of my other friends, who were hosted and gone viral.
Well, speaking of going viral, let's get to the SourceCon recap. I think we have a call coming in. Who could it be? Who could it be?
What is up? Hello, welcome.
Hello, thank you. Thank you for having me. I liked your costume. And now, are you Daphne from Scooby Doo?
I am Daphne. Yes.
Well done.
This headband is kind of hurting my head, but we live in. How are you? What's your costume today?
I am a homicidal maniac because they look like everyone else.
Whoa. Chills down my spine.
The costume is working.
Well, I'm ready to investigate, as my character would. So you're in what I call the come down week, where after your
Yes.
conference you're just coming down from it all. And then
Yes.
next week is going to be your come up week. So just get ready. Just get ready. How are you feeling? What's going on in your head, your
Yeah.
heart? Tell me everything.
I'm basking in the afterglow that is SourceCon.
You
It
are.
was so amazing, so much fun. I've been to several SourceCons. I can't even count how many SourceCons I've been to. And, it's been around since 2007. But this was going to have a special place in my heart because I was able to check off something off my bucket list, which was to sing on stage. Now, I am not a singer.
You
More
sure? Are you sure?
I'm not a singer, but I do like to sing on occasion. So, singing in front of a big crowd at SourceCon, that was something else. It's sort of,
Amazing.
yeah. We started off SourceCon with singing, actually. Um, Myself, Brian Fink, Larry, Larry McDonald, and Penny Kim. We all got on stage and we sang a rendition of "We Do Wonderful Work," sung to the tune of "It's a Wonderful World" by Louis Armstrong. And that sort of set a theme because we had great speakers, but we also had great singing throughout because and I had no idea of this, there are a lot of people who appreciate karaoke, and there are a lot of people who appreciate laughing at people who sing karaoke.
Laughing at you. I'm just kidding.
Yes, yes, I think I thoroughly embarrassed myself there, but it was all for good cause. We had a lot of,
So
lot of
so
fun.
what's your go-to karaoke song?
Almost anything Lenny Kravitz. I'm a huge Lenny Kravitz fan.
Okay.
So the song I went with was "Fly Away."
Wow.
Fly Away. Yeah, yeah,
Beautiful.
yeah.
Are you going to give us a little taste now?
Let's see. I really shouldn't because I'm quite shy.
I really shouldn't, but
But since you insist, I'll sing a bar from our opening song since some people couldn't get.
yay. All right, I'm ready.
I see unicorns blue, purple squirrels too. As a hiring manager asks, how do you do what you do? And
Mm,
I think to myself, we do wonderful work. Thank you. Thank you very much.
that vibrato. Wow.
Got a little Elvis in
Incredible.
there at the end there.
Yes, there's the clapping. Thank
There you
you.
go. So that
Wow.
sort of set the mood. A lot
Yeah.
of fun, lot of learning. Another thing I like about SourceCon being affiliated with so long is that I always manage to learn something new or see it from a different perspective. And we certainly had a lot of that. We had a big panel discussion on ethics and sourcing.
Mm,
We do all these different hackery things. And do we blur the line in some of the stuff that we do? So we talked a lot about that. Um, a topic came up that really bounced around in my head a lot about influence. It should
ooh,
influence be the new sourcing, right? Because you
right.
have so many tools to find people. But if you are an influencer in your space, then you are attracting people who may not necessarily have their resume online or who may not want to be hounded by recruiters. So
Right.
you need to attract people. So thought a lot about that. And then another one that I still think about, maybe because I'm getting older, we talked about DEI and in regards to ageism, and how some
Yeah. Hot
employers may,
topic right now.
yeah, and how some employers may think if you are of a certain age, then you're not technically proficient.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they think, oh, that's a Gen Z thing, people who know technology, but
Yeah.
there are a lot of people in Gen X and older who are on top of things. So we
Yeah.
talked
It'd
about,
it'd be interesting to have like more of an intergenerational discussion on that. I'm
yeah,
big on that word because there was recently an article and Mervyn Dinnan and I had a conversation about this last week where it's like, yeah, young professionals are also like we're also being, uh kind of picked on around our entitlement and the laziness and like not being prepared to come into the
mm,
workforce. It's like it's not really our fault that we're not being prepared for, but also there's like a certain amount of preparation from a personal standpoint that each of us has to do, not only to learn how to write a business email, but
yep,
also to stay on top of AI And so it's like I think there's a balance between, the personal and the communal responsibility. But I think ageism is hitting both ends of the spectrum. So it would be interesting to have kind of an intergen discussion on that as well.
For sure, for sure.
Yeah.
We had a lot of talk about AI. Of course, you can't get away from it.
Of course.
And we had a lot of karaoke. Again, that was very surprising. We had so much karaoke that during the conference we had karaoke, and then afterwards, the people who were the diehard karaoke fans, myself included, we left the conference and went to a bar and we sang some more
Wow.
karaoke.
Unreal. I
Now,
think I definitely saw videos of that. I think
oh, you saw some videos. I'm working on a recap video that
Oh,
will show karaoke uncut, SourceCon uncut. So
I'm
you're gonna
ready
see
for that,
more
Alpha.
videos
I'm
pretty
ready.
soon.
I'm ready.
Oh yeah, you'll
Wow,
see
that's
more soon.
incredible. What about like the where you want SourceCon to go next? Like what are you excited for to like continue on similar strings and kind of what's next for you guys?
Yeah, SourceCon has evolved over the years with the industry. At one point, it was all about Boolean. At one point, it's all about tools. Of course, those are still highly influential. We're looking to the future. I receive a lot of email messages and notes, and still receiving messages. And I want to encourage people to still reach out to me, Jim at sourcecon.com, with your ideas. We're always looking for the cutting edge. What's new? What's different? What we could do better? Still keeping it 1 foot on the basics. Because after being in the industry so long, sometimes I tend to think everybody knows this stuff, but everybody doesn't. So we have 1 foothold in the basics, but we're still looking forward to the future. How can we do candidate engagement better? How can we attract people to us? As I mentioned earlier about being an influencer and attracting people, because with all the tools that are out there, it's one thing to find information that's online, but of course, there's a segment of people who aren't necessarily promoting themselves online, so you need to be able to attract them. Candidate engagement is also very strong, using analytics to make your strategies more sound. So things like that, looking for those type of things, but also looking for what I'm not thinking about. And what I'm not thinking about is what's in your head, talking to you, watching this stream now. So please email me, Jim at sourcecon.com. Tell me your ideas. Tell me what you want more of, and we work on that, and maybe showing your ideas, or at least working on your ideas for the next SourceCon, which is in Vegas. To your earlier point.
Adam's favorite city.
That's right.
Well, that is very exciting. I'm curious also to know what you're doing this week for you.
For me, I am doing a bit of self-care. Some of the people in our community are big on yoga and meditation and just going. So I've taken some time this past weekend. I may do it again just to relax. Do some breathing exercises, little
Love it.
little
A
bit of
little
yoga.
a little
You know,
never hurt anyone.
yes, yes, yes. And then I may go to my happy place, which includes anime,
Love it.
Lenny Kravitz
Just
music,
get lost in the anime.
somewhere in there. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I love that. Well, thank you so much for coming on and sharing a little bit about SourceCon with us. I'm sad I wasn't there, but hopefully I will be there in Vegas next time.
May I interject one last thing, just
Oh,
in
of
passing?
course.
There are a lot of people who have that FOMO, that fear of missing out, and they say, you know
Yeah.
what, the spirit is willing, but my wallet may be a little weak. We have this program called Sourcers Anonymous, where you can write articles that get peer reviewed, and if you get so many peer reviewed articles, then you can earn a ticket to SourceCon that way. Check it out at sourcecon.com.
Oh, wow, that is incredible. Thank you for letting us know. All right.
Yes.
Great incentive, and we get to go to SourceCon.
Oh yes. Come
Awesome.
one, come all.
I love that. All right. Well, thank you so much, Jim. Great to meet you. Great to see you, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you very much.
All right. Bye.
Glenn from ERIN. Michael, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How you doing?
I'm doing great. I mean, I need to ask you first. Is it okay if I wear this on stage in a couple weeks? Like, could I go full unicorn?
You would be the first. But if you want to do it, hey man, go for it. We're right next to Disneyland, and you can just go right from the conference.
Oh, that's a whole
And
other thing we were talking about off air
right over there.
before. If I'm gonna make it there on Friday afternoon. Well, everyone out there, I want to introduce you to my buddy Michael Glenn over at ERE. Michael, why don't you tell everyone who you are and what you do best?
Yeah. All right. So Michael Glenn, thanks for having me on the show. I do love the costume. And by the way, I love the costume, Daphne costume as well, because it reminds me of my daughter who was Daphne not too long ago for Halloween. And my son who was Little Einstein. I don't even know if that's around anymore. But anyways, yeah, so I'm with ERE Recruiting Conference, and I'm also the editor for ERE. We're kind of a big deal. No, I'm just kidding, but we've been around for a while. We've been around for a couple of decades. We've been in this. We were one of the first really resources for a lot of talent acquisition professionals to get articles, get resources, and then eventually started conferences. And of course, we're talking to Jim Stroud earlier, so SourceCon is part of that whole ERE media. So we have a lot of conferences throughout the year, and so I just pretty much maintain the ERE brand and our conference and a lot of the content that goes out. But prior to that, I spent a long time being a recruiter.
In
So I
the
got a lot.
trenches. You're one of us. You're one of
Yeah,
us,
man.
Mike.
Boots on the ground, in the trenches, hiring people. I got a lot of stories to tell there if you ever want to talk about them.
Oh, we're gonna save that for Anaheim at the bar, the hotel bar. We're gonna save those.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so, yeah, eventually moved into Flair brand recruitment marketing, and yeah, that's kind of my background. So, yeah.
Yeah, I love it. So maybe Michael, I know we're trying to do a video promo for ERE, so I think we could use this. If people don't mind a little unicorn in there, we could use some of this content and kill two birds with one stone. So let's
Hey,
talk about the ERE conference coming up in Anaheim. It's coming up in 2 weeks. It's going to be the 11th, right? The 12th through the 14th. We're going to be
yeah,
down in Anaheim, and everyone could check that out. We're going to link it up in the comments there. I'm going to be there, but we have a star-studded lineup, including Jim Stroud, Kevin Wheeler, the man himself, Hung Lee. We have Cheryl Peterson, Rachel Allen from 7-Eleven, David Crawford from New York Presbyterian. We have so many folks out there, incredible thought leaders, practitioners in the space. What is this conference all about, and who is it for?
well, this is going to be a lot different conference, I think, than we've ever had before. Now, what's it really all about? That's a good question because most people think of ERE, especially if you've been around for a long time, kind of think of it as more of a TA practitioner. It is really more for a TA practitioner, but a lot of TA leaders that kind of come together and share insights about what's working and what's not working. But really, what it's become and what's evolved now, it's about the entire TA community. It's about people like yourself, independents, agencies, corporate recruiters, people that provide services, software companies. So it's about everything. And that's what the ERE recruiting conference is about. It's about bringing everybody together in the community, kind of learning what's working and what isn't working.
Yeah, let's scroll through some of the topics out there that's really going to be interesting. We're going to talk about the future of recruiting. Obviously, we're going to talk about AI. We're going to talk about how TA really should be an indispensable function and really how to operate that automation. I mean, so many topics. AI versus listen, I've been to a bunch of these conferences in the last year. AI is a buzzword, but we're really going to dig into it at ERE and talk about where the rubber hits the road. My show that came out today with Lydia Wu, we talk about, does every company need AI? Is it just a shiny object out there? And then once you get this shiny object in there, do you have the right team, the right financial support, the right executive support to really utilize it as best as possible? So I'm really excited about these conversations. And there's also not just keynotes out there, but roundtables. Tell everyone what the roundtables are about.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I mean, this conference has everything that you want, right? I mean, it's got roundtable discussions. These are the topics that really TA practitioners and even the providers you really need to learn more about. So it's usually a lot of trending topics. It can be anything from obviously AI, how AI is impacting the business. It can be even employer brand, recruitment marketing strategies, what's working, what isn't working. We saw a lot of budget cuts in DEI, so there's a lot of like trending topics. That's where the roundtables come in. So people get together and kind of talk about what happened last year, maybe the last couple of years, and what they need to do for 2025.
And I love the roundtables. I'm going to try to capture some of the content from there too, because I think that's where the innovation comes. It comes from the conversation,
Oh
having
yeah.
difficult conversations and having actionable, practical insights that come from them, and talk about how do we implement them in our day-to-day business. So everyone who's at the conference, how do we take these learnings from the keynote speakers, from the roundtable, and bring them back to our organizations? And then in 2025, let's report back and see what worked, what didn't work, what the latest trends are. It's going to be really interesting. I mean, it really is ear to the ground. I mean, this is a little bit different than some of the larger expo style conferences with a lot of exhibitors. This is real conversations,
Yeah.
real practitioners, and getting everybody in one room together versus spread out over a large expo floor. I'm excited for it, and everyone should be excited. I'm going to be speaking on Thursday afternoon at 2:00, and I'm going to be speaking about how companies could utilize a internal podcast for candidate attraction, employer branding, culture, showcasing diversity. I'm going to share some examples. I'm going to share the thought process behind it and how to be a champion within your own organization if you think a podcast might be. Michael, I don't want to put you on the spot here, but who's one keynote that if anyone going, they better not miss it? They better not be in their hotel room doing work and checking emails.
Oh man, that's gonna be tough. I mean,
It could be a Kevin Grossman. It could be a James Ellis. It could be a Jennifer Tardy.
yeah, that's gonna be tough. I mean,
I don't want to shit.
honestly,
Don't sleep on Kate Bischoff.
oh yeah, yeah. Oh, I want to say something about her real quick. That is probably where we get the most positive reviews. She does it every year because it's all, legal talk, and everybody has been laid off. I shouldn't say everybody, but a lot of people are laid off. So that was really, really like a big topic from
Ooh.
spring. So yeah, don't want to miss her. She's virtual. Um, you know, I, for me, I think James Ellis is going to really drive something home. I'm more of an employer brand, so I'm a
Did you
bias
talk to him
there.
about his attire? Is he allowed to wear a Hawaiian shirt? Are we having this conversation, James Ellis?
Yeah, I don't know. He might wear his EBAF, which I got one of those T-shirts. Maybe I might wear it too. So I love his, his thought process around what he's doing with the employer brand. And a lot of companies have slashed budgets with DEI, so that's going to be another topic. I think Jennifer Tardy, and I heard so many good things about her as a keynote speaker. She's going to be really good. But
Steph,
believe it or not, I'm going to say you too, because I put out some content recently about podcasting. Actually, when I first came on, I should say recently, when I first came on with the area, I put some content out about podcasting, and it got so much engagement, so many impressions, so much buzz all across our social media channels. And I think I realized something, that companies are really investing more on not just traditional stuff that you put out on LinkedIn about your employer brand, but they're really focusing a lot more on podcasting too.
and that comes down to a big part of my presentation where I'm talking about showing versus telling. Right?
Mhm.
A company could go out there and they could say, "We have diversity initiatives. We support culture. We support extracurricular and learning and all these things. We could tell you what it's like to work here." But when you do a podcast the right way internally and you're showcasing your employees and the employees are the content, that's what's going to make it shine. And then what I'm also going to dig into is how do you take that content and use the content pyramid? I'm getting in the weeds here, and put that content into your candidate attraction, your talent attraction, your hiring process to showcase it. There's so many opportunities to make your company shine brighter. And we're going to get into retention. We're going to get into all these things on mine. I'm excited for it. I'm also excited. I'm going to be recording. I'm going to be recording on Wednesday and Thursday morning with many of the speakers and the guests there. We're going to talk about hot topics, and we're going to really shine a light on the good in the industry. We're going to shine a light on ERE and just keep the good times rolling. Anybody out there, it is not too late. Especially if you live on the West Coast, grab some tickets, head over to ERE. There's a couple of promo codes. You could get 20% off. You could check my feed for that. We still have some rooms, I think, open at the Westin. It's in the middle of Disneyland. There's a lot of hotels nearby. Everything's in walking distance, guys. This is a great conference. Anyone out there who's a thought leader, a practitioner in the space, especially independent recruiters like myself, this is a good one. What else, Mike? What am I missing here?
No, that's perfect. Yeah, you really summed it up good. I think this is going to be a great conference. Just the location and the time frame that it's in. It's right after Veterans Day, so you get that free extra holiday. And I think what people really need to understand about this conference, and what makes it a little bit more unique, is that it is obviously you're going to get there to network and meet a lot of these TA leaders and people that provide a lot of the services. but you really are going to come away with insights. And I like the fact that you'll be able to network, meet people, and say, hey, can I call you? Can I get in touch with you and learn some of the things that you did? For last year, the spring conference, we had Melissa Thompson, and she was a keynote speaker. And a lot of people wanted to reach out to her to see how she transformed her TA to be more strategic advisors, and that's kind of what we're going to build upon in the fall too. People like Kevin Wheeler, who's going to be talking about how to become more of a strategic advisor and leveraging a lot of technology. So you can get in touch with these people after the conference and get more, insight from them, and you get direction on how to kind of implement it on your own. So whether you're a corporate TA leader or an agency or an independent, this is a place where you really can learn and get in touch with people. So that's it.
That is fantastic. And I want everyone to take a note here too. It's not just about the keynotes and the roundtables, but it's the connection. You're spending a couple of days with these folks. We're eating together. We're hanging out afterwards. The networking is what it's all about. Mike, give everyone a shout. Where could they link up? What else?
Oh yeah. I just totally forgot. We got the Candy Awards, which is if you know Kevin Grossman, he leads up the Candy Awards, which is more candidate experience. We have, I think, 60 companies that are getting awards globally. These are like really large, medium to large size companies, well-known brands, well-known logos, and they're all going to be in attendance. So we have this Candy Award dinner. So if you come to the conference, you got to come to the dinner. The dinner is right after the day one conference. There'll be a lot of people there getting these awards. So it's all about candidate experience there. But yeah, definitely reach out to me on LinkedIn. You can search me through ERE or Michael Glenn.
Easy to find.
Yeah, easy to find. By the way, I shared the same name. Real quick story before we go. I shared the same name as a famous basketball player, Michael Glenn, and he would play for the Atlanta Hawks. And then he went on to become a commentator for the broadcast commentator for the Atlanta Hawks. And we both worked at Turner Broadcasting, but he used to cash my expense checks by accident.
By accident, yeah.
So if you look me up, there's a ton of Michael Glenn's on LinkedIn, but I'm the one with ERE. So.
Awesome. I want everyone to check it out. I'm going to be there. Podcast is going to be there. HR Morning Show is going to be there. I'm excited for Anaheim. I didn't check the weather yet. I usually don't check the weather until a few days out. I don't like to play that game, but it's Southern California, guys. It's going to be nice. Michael Glenn, I appreciate you. I'm excited for ERE. We're going to link it up in the comments. Get involved, 20% off. Book your flights, book your travel, get some childcare, figure it out, feed the pets, leave them the whole bag of food open, and come join us at ERE out in Anaheim in a couple of weeks. Michael Glenn, thank you so much for everything. We'll see you in a little bit.
All right, thanks.
Alin. What is what are you doing this for me? Are you doing this for me back there? What is that?
I'm hanging out with Mickey Mouse this week.
Oh, you're in Orlando. So
I'm chilling in Orlando.
You're in the newer, quote unquote. First of all, they're investing zillions of dollars into modernizing, and you can tell by the ticket prices over there.
Oh yeah.
Are you planning to go to Disney while you're there? Is that on the itinerary?
Yeah, 100%.
Oh yeah,
100%.
Not missing it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, what do you do after the Super Bowl? You go to Disney World. Do them in.
Wow, after everyone finds Winston, what do you... Alin Bailey, now that Winston's been found, what are you going to do next?
I'm going to Disney World.
See how we said that?
100%.
What is happening today? First of all, what's going on in Orlando?
I'm here at the Gartner Reimagine HR conference.
What's that all about?
It is a lot of great conversation around HR and the strategies around HR. It's a little bit different vibe than maybe some of our normal kind of conference fodder, right? A lot more people kind of dress up like I had put a suit jacket on top of the t-shirt. And
is that a Winston? Is that a Winston shirt?
It is.
I got to get me one of those.
You got to have a Winston shirt, dude.
Yeah, I'm gonna put it with my cat and cheese mug. I'm gonna have a whole altar to smart recruiters over there. Side note, everybody, guess what? Next Tuesday, my conversation from HR Tech with your boss, your leader, Rebecca comes out next Tuesday. We're gonna promote that. Sorry, shameless plug there.
Amazing. No, that'll be really great. She's amazing.
Yeah, it's a good
and
one.
really great to listen to. So
So you're at
yeah,
this conference. What are you looking to do? Are you speaking? Are you there to network? Are you
no,
there to share the
I
words of
am
wisdom of
really,
Winston?
yeah, I'm really just here introducing people to Winston and doing a lot of walkthroughs and demos and having a lot of conversations about the future of technology and HR and TA, which I think is an interesting can of worms that people are just starting to get beneath the surface on, which has been very cool.
Yeah, so let's get beneath the surface. Let's talk about let's dig into today.
Yeah.
First thing I want to chat about are pop-up offices and the rise of popularity. We all know there's flexible solutions out there. I work with a lot of clients who are moving away from the traditional office. They have hybrid models, but they still need a place to come together, and it doesn't make sense to have a giant footprint in certain areas. What are you seeing and hearing around pop-up offices?
So this is fascinating. So I've been spending a good deal of time going deeper into the World Economic Forum's data. And what I'm seeing is this very interesting trend, particularly in locations you may not have thought of. So for example, in Austria, this is like a thing now. In remote mountain communities where people have kind of escaped out of the cities and they're living in these spaces, companies are starting to create these kind of pop-up experiences for people to come together for short periods of time and then dispersing them, right? So when we say pop-up, they really are like a pop-up store. They show up for a small amount of time. There's a specific experience that's generated, and then people go back to their lives.
Is this almost like a corporate retreat or a different version of that where they're bringing like...
Yeah. No, that's what I thought at first. No, literally offices. So you don't have an office experience. You don't drive into the office every day. We're going to set up a pop-up office out here in the middle of the Austrian Alps. And
I would love
you
that.
can kind of bring your goats on over, hang out with us,
BYOG.
and have an office experience. And then we're going to go away with it, right? IKEA is doing this. This is fascinating. So IKEA is doing this.
Do you have to build your own office furniture when you get there?
I don't know.
I'd be miserable if I
this
flew
I have not
halfway across
researched
the
enough.
world and like you have a desk here, but you have to build your own desk. I'm like, I'm out.
Yeah, out of
I'm
here.
gonna hang
Out
out
of
with
here.
the goats.
So they're doing it on purpose. They're partnering with these companies in order to demonstrate and show off their cool furniture. So it's like a cross between a pop-up office and a pop-up store at the same time.
Can I tell you my
Very
greatest?
interesting.
Can I tell you my greatest accomplishment of the past year? Not work related.
Mhm.
So we're looking for a solution. That's to do with IKEA. We're looking for a solution for my daughter's room. She needed more space. So we went to IKEA and we saw this giant, and I'm talking giant, Ellen. It's maybe 5 feet wide, 3 feet deep, 9 feet tall kind of wardrobe thing. And we're like, all right, cool. But now I got to put it together. And we had to get a truck shipped. It was, I think, 5 giant boxes. It took me a full day, but I nailed it. And I felt
Only
such
one?
a full day. It felt such a sense of accomplishment that I built that. And it was heavy. And I constricted workspace because I had to build it between her bed and the window. But let me tell you something. That was exciting. Now back to what we're talking about. Thank you for entertaining me.
I get it. Listen, IKEA furniture is the vein of every Gen Xer's existence. We all lived with it. We grew up with it. We started pulling it into like our early 20s apartments, right? And I still have pieces of IKEA furniture that I had in my 20s and 30s that I carry around.
They're good. They're good for one move. They're good for one move. You can move them one time, and you got to tighten back up those round kind of hex nut screw bolts that they got there.
Those Allen
lock
wrenches.
nuts.
You have to have a special set of Allen wrenches now, so you can like do all of the Allen wrenches. I have one IKEA bookcase that has traveled with me for 20 some years.
That bookcase that I have in my office right now, that was in our apartment in the city, 2 apartments in the city, and our house, and it made the trip. Let's get back on track. I want to talk about mental health innovations in Japan. What's happening here? The crisis going on.
A huge crisis. So there's been a mental health crisis going on, particularly around stress. This is happening globally. We see it in lots of locations. But interestingly enough, Japan is starting to take this on as a specific government initiative. So they've got kind of 3 major things that we're starting to see pop up, which I think is really intriguing and something interesting to watch from an HR perspective. 1, the use of wellness devices, right? Like the Aura rings that people have, or the Whoop watches, right, that people have. And they're having companies are actually going out, giving them to their employees, and then they're tracking that data to track stress. So what I found fascinating about this is kind of twofold. One, cool that they're concerned about stress. And if you
Right.
think about kind of what we know about the culture around work, right, and the emphasis and focus on hard work within the region and within the country, this makes sense. There's a lot of stress around work. So interesting, they're fascinated and they're focused on that. But two, at the same time they're working on these kind of stress reducing ideas, they're perfectly willing to have individuals track their stress and health from a company level with these devices. And they're all, I mean, can you imagine? Like if you walked into a US company today and you said, everybody's going to wear an Oura ring and I'm going to track your mental health with it.
No, that's a tough one. No, that's not going to fly over here too. We value we value privacy here, and I don't need to be tracked on the weekends. You don't need to when I'm staying up till 4 a.m.
Right. So it's like a catch-22. It's like, really cool. You're interested in this. Wow, what an interesting cultural dynamic that this is okay, that we can track that level of kind of personal health. And then the government as a whole is doing a lot in this space around stress and guidance and health, which I think is fascinating. I think you're going to see some more countries start to take this on at a more global level. I think what's interesting about this as well, too, if you kind of peel back the onion a little bit, is the number of countries, particularly in APAC, who are taking on initiatives that we would normally think of as kind of HR company-driven initiatives, and they're making them government-led, kind of full country government-led initiatives. Like
it's a double-edged sword, though, right? It's a double-edged sword between being too big brother and letting companies and people just be, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's fascinating. I think it's really interesting, and I think if you're in the HR space, hopefully most everybody here is. It's just not just thinking about talent acquisition, but thinking about the larger story around human resources. This trend to find a new balance between what is good for the overall economy and what is good for individual companies, and then personal development and growth and wellness in this whole picture. So more to watch there. I'm keeping our eyes open. And I think this intersection between health, wellness, mobility, and technology are all going to come to this really interesting crescendo in the next year and a half.
It is a fascinating space. So, Lynn, let's wrap it up here. And I need to know one thing. What is your favorite ride at Disney World?
Oh, this is not a hard one for me. So if you're a real Disney World Disney fanatic, your answer is one answer only. The
Space
People
Mountain.
Mover. No, the People Mover.
The monorail?
No, not the monorail. The People Mover. Look it up. It's the People Mover. It's in Future World. My God, I'm losing my mind. It's in Future World. You got to get on it. They only have it in Disney World. It's a People Mover. And if you're a real Disney fanatic, what you do is you get your Mickey ice cream bar, you get your little beverage, you get yourself on the People Mover, and you chill.
I love it. Well, Lynn, thank you so much. I want everyone to check out Smart Recruiters. Check out Winston. They got a lot of stuff going on. Follow Lynn on LinkedIn. Lynn, have a great trip to Disney World, a great trip to Orlando, and we'll catch you next week for the Global
Thanks, guys.
Lynn Bailey, Smart Recruiters, everybody. Thank you.
Bye.
Oh, we have another caller. Welcome, Erica.
Hello. I missed the costume memo.
Oh, yeah. You know what? Production team. Next time we got to tell our guests to arrive in costume, because I'm sure you would have.
I was Carol Baskins with my husband as the Tiger King over the week.
Oh my gosh. That's incredible. Me and my friends have an inside joke about Ursula that I can't reveal on this live stream, but I can tell you offline.
Okay.
That's incredible. I think I saw your post come up in my feed, and I like before this, and I was like, whoa, that's iconic. It's just iconic. I actually never watched Tiger King, fun fact, but
it was a COVID thing. It was like a weird COVID thing.
It really was. Whereabouts are you in the world?
I am in Knoxville, Tennessee.
Ooh, Tennessee. You're the only 10 I see. Um,
I've heard that a couple
a
times.
lot, a lot. That's like the only thing that comes to mind for me. Plus, like I think like Hannah, Montana or something. Yeah, you could tell I've had my morning cup of coffee plus one. By the way, in the chat, let us know where you're tuning in from. We did not say that this morning. So Erica, what is up? What tell us for anyone who doesn't know who you are. Tell us who you are, what you do, and what you love about
Yeah,
what you do.
happy to do a little bit of a quick intro. So I'm Erica McManus. I am the founder and Chief People and Community Officer at Instant Teams. We've been around for about 8 years, and we function as a CX talent marketplace. So we do full outsourcing as a boutique BPO. We have a curated job board launching in the new year. And kind of our unique value prop is that we are mission centric on military spouse talent. So my co founder and I are both military spouses. We met along the many moves over the past 20, 23 years and have built this business model to solve solutions for companies, but also bring a very highly talented talent pool into the market that sometimes is kind of hard to get into.
I love that so much. I'm such a big fan of like specialized talent boards. And specifically like these types of groups that we tend to overlook. You think of veterans, you think of working moms who are trying to get back into the workforce. I have this hot take that, if we want to create better managers, we should just be hiring moms who are re-entering the
100%.
workforce. So they'd be the best of managers
Yeah.
because they have to manage their homes and their kids.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I love what you're doing. What's something interesting that's like come up lately around within instant teams that you're maybe noticing in the industry or that's changing?
Yeah, well, we've always been remote. So when we started out in 2016, we were remote because that model for us
Wow.
as military community moving every 2 to 3 years, that ability to take that with you was a huge part. Like it's why we started Instant Teams. So then obviously COVID hit. Everybody realized what remote work was and how they needed to adapt very quickly. But we continue to see that as a value point for, like you mentioned, different specialized talent target groups that need that flexibility. A lot of people want remote work now, which is great. I think that's been a great change in the space. But it's a need for a lot of people to be dual income who might not be able to do that outside of the home. I think Adam mentioned childcare. Like that is a huge challenge to travel and even leave your house day to day back and forth. And fun fact, we have about 500 employees and we're 91% women. So
Wow.
that's just proof that you build the opportunity to make work for people, and you can attract that type of diversity that everybody wants to say they have, but when you build that, it really becomes a great opportunity.
Wow, that is incredible. 91% female.
Yeah.
It reminds me of my cousin who works at a nonprofit, and they're like 80% female. And I mean, they didn't try to your
Yeah.
point. It's about, attracting your vibe attracts your tribe. Second time
100%.
today. Second time today. For those of us who are curious, including myself, what's the relationship between CX and the type of clientele and the type of talent that you're connecting with those roles?
Yeah, that's a great question. We have actually discovered that along the way. So when we started the company, we always say we built a boutique BPO in the CX space, but that's not what we meant to do, because we really just had this mission to let's get this talent group into the corporate business space. But what we found along the way is that CX, whether it's customer experience, employee experience, anything throughout that industry, is that quick adaptability, the cultural influence of being able to identify with people very quickly, crisis management, problem solving. Those are literally all skills that it takes to survive as a military spouse. And so it's this really cool, like almost empowerment moment where the chaos of the lifestyle that military spouses have to live, it actually is a superpower in a way in the CX space. So it's exciting every customer that we get to onboard new teams with, that they start to see that. And it's also sometimes more exciting for the individuals to be like, oh, like all this chaos and things that I've just had to live through actually are a really big one up and a really big opportunity for me to succeed in the CX space.
Wow, that is so incredible, and it makes a lot of sense
Yeah.
realistically, right?
Yeah.
And within like the types of companies that you work with, what are some like specific actions that if a company wanted to maybe be more attractive to this specific group of people, what are some easy things? Sorry, there's there's some construction going on behind me.
Life happens.
Yeah. But yeah, what are some specific things that they could do that are like easy, small, like not super difficult to integrate into their process or their employee experience?
Yeah, I love that question because, again, I think it shows the intentional, conscious attempt to bring in other talent groups. Like, what can I do? Like equality, equity, like there's sometimes things that you've got to build in. For the military spouse community specifically, flexibility is a big one. We live very uncertain day to day, depending on what your service member spouse might be doing in the military. So flexibility and the ability to whether have part-time, full-time, split shifts, that type of thing. But then also the awareness of PCS season. And I don't know if you know what that is, but
I don't.
PCS stands for permanent change of station. And that's kind of seasonality in the military community where you get orders and you move. So during those times of move, you might be moving a state over, you might be moving to Europe, or you might be moving to Asia. And so if you're employing military spouses, there's the seasonality to when military families have to move. And we've seen some of our customers, whether working with us directly or even internally, adopt really cool like leave policies supporting military spouses through those moves. So, easy roundtable conversation to have between leadership and HR and figure out how to support.
Is it like a specific time of year, or is it like depending on the sort of what's the season?
Yeah, so usually spring, summertime is a big movement, and then sometimes kind of towards the end of the year it's smaller, but that May into June through the summer is a huge opportunity for the military to have people relocate.
Yeah, see, this is why we have people like you on, because I just learned something new, incredibly helpful, probably for employers and HR people. And that's why you tune into the HR Morning Show, to learn these incredible little facts that will likely have a huge impact on the way that you can relate to
Yeah.
several different people within your company. So what else? What is something that you want to leave our audience with today?
Yeah, I would just love to connect. And guys have been talking about social selling and relationship building and conference season. We've just come off of 4 conferences. Our team is at the last one now. So just really big into that relationship building. So any takeaway would just be connect with me on LinkedIn. Would love to have meet and greets or one-on-ones. Like to travel and get out there. So if I'm someplace that somebody sees, always happy to grab coffee on me, drink on me, whatever the pick the poison. And check out Instant Teams. So instantteams.com. We love just to talk with people and see how we can get some of our great, remarkable talent groups in the companies.
Love that. And which conferences are you going to be at in the next few months?
So we just wrapped up. We were at CRS, which is the Customer Response Summit in Palm Springs. Inbounds HubSpot.
I was there.
Okay.
Yeah.
We should have connected. See,
I know.
We were at ICMI in Florida. We were just at CCW, Customer Contact Week in Nashville. Our team's at Money 2020 in Vegas right now. And then we'll start to fizzle down till at least the spring. So
that's awesome. Well, I hope that you enjoy the restful period. And yes, thank you so much. And yes, check out Instant Teams. Everyone tuning in. Awesome. Thank you so much for being here.
Hey, Lindsay, how's it going?
Hey, good. How are you?
Great. What's happening in the great state of Utah this morning?
It's nice and fall-like, finally. But I feel like I belong here because we have our team at Gartner Reimagine, and I'm going to Disneyland this weekend. So you guys are just on my wavelength.
We are everywhere. So, Lindsay, welcome to the HR Morning Show. Why don't we just take a quick moment and introduce yourself to everybody? Tell us who you are and what you do best.
Yeah, I'm Lindsay Zulaga. I'm the Chief Data Scientist at HireVue. Been with HireVue for a really long time. So we are a vendor, kind of started off in the asynchronous video interviewing space and started doing that 20 years ago. And so we've built a lot of things on top of that. We have a lot of tools that use AI to evaluate candidates. tools that use just good old fashioned kind of job tryouts and other assessments, scheduling tools, chatbot to engage with candidates. So we have a whole suite of products, and we work with, I think it's 62 of the Fortune 100. So we do a lot of hiring, a lot of high volume hiring, and a lot of and professional hiring as well, some government hiring, all across the map. So.
Big name out there. Anyone who's in the space, they know. But I want to talk about your background for a quick second here. Chief Data Scientist.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us a little bit about your background and how you found your way into the people analytics space.
Yeah, I didn't plan on it for sure.
You weren't a little girl just crunching numbers. Mommy, I want to count people numbers.
Yeah.
No, it's not. That's not the way it worked out.
I studied physics, actually. So like a lot of people who are data science that are more my age are kind of from a diverse background of STEM fields. Now they have data science boot camps and degrees and things like that. But
now it's cool. Now it's cool to nerd out on numbers. Cool. Yeah.
Yeah. But when having tons of math, it was pretty easy to pick up when I transitioned from academia to industry. So I did a postdoc, a PhD, a postdoc in applied physics. So I was doing experiments with lasers and writing papers in academic journals. Decided I want to transition to the real world, and I applied for jobs. At that point, I was pretty shocked at how awful the situation is and kind of how broken the process is. So going out, I was in a weird position where I was kind of overqualified for a lot of entry level jobs, but I never had a job before outside of academia. And I was applying, naively, kind of thinking, this shouldn't be too hard. I'm doing well in academia, and that's really competitive, so I should be fine. But went out and applied for, tons of jobs when you're just in an applicant tracking system, uploading your resume, re-entering all the fields again, and then
grind. It's a grind. But two important things here. One, that you've been through the candidate experience like many of us have, and we know that it's broken and it's changed. And two, and the reason I asked you about your background is to really set up your expertise and how critical that is as we talk about the topic du jour, which is AI, artificial intelligence, specifically when we talk about it in the hiring people tech process. So let's talk specifically first about HireVue, what tools you're using both internally and what tools you have available for your clients.
Yeah, so a lot of what I work on is assessment, like I said. So it's assessing people's language in video interviews, things like their behavior in playing a game, or and tying that to on-the-job skills. And so my team works with a big team of industrial organizational psychologists who've been, assessing people for many, many decades. And so we build off all of that best practice, but using these new methods, right? And using them, they're a lot more sophisticated. There's a lot more data. There's also a lot more chance to lose track of what's going on. So a big part of what we do as well is digging in and auditing the systems, understanding what they're looking at. We've had several third-party audits. We publish papers about bias and fairness in hiring and kind of comparing human versus machine. Mm-hmm. And the idea that I care a lot about is, especially early in the funnel, like I mentioned, it's a black hole applying for a lot of jobs. Most of our customers have hundreds or thousands of applicants applying for a job. So how do we standardize that and give everybody the same shot? And they get evaluated in the same way, in a way that is not biased and that's actually important for the job. So that's a lot of what I think about. And obviously having a strong background in understanding AI, and as things are changing very quickly in this space, I was at HR Tech not too long ago, and everybody's talking about AI. Obviously, it's the buzzword on every sign you see. And I think it's more accessible than ever, right? Everybody can play with ChatGPT, which is really exciting, but there's also a lot of care that needs to be taken, like I said. So we're building new technologies kind of with that ethical AI perspective.
Yeah, let's talk about care. Let's talk about ethical AI, but I really starts, and keep me straight here. You're the expert. I'm just the reporter in the space. Is around where the data comes from. Now, not all data, it's very rare to have 100% clean data, but data comes from different sources. Isn't that the critical, 0.0 of any kind of AI project? Where's the data coming from? What are we doing with it? What's the end goal? And how are we going to analyze it? And what are we going to use it for?
Totally. I mean, these algorithms are just commodities now. They're pretty straightforward. They're open source packages you can use. How you optimize them is important, but you're absolutely right, Adam. The most important thing is the data that you're training on. They're learning from something. And a good like example is we used to do a lot more training straight on our customers' data. And what we found is, hey, performance metrics are often really flawed. Everybody's a 3
Yep.
out of 5, or there's bias in them, or what is this performance metric? So we dealt with a lot of messy data, and we ultimately decided we want to curate our own data set. So when we're trying to predict someone's adaptability or teamwork skills based on how they answered a question or described a situation, we curated that data set. We had expert evaluators rate these answers that we used in their training, and we have a rubric of how we do that. We look at how multiple people rated that question. So we're getting
Lots
that
of
on the
factors.
front end pretty clean.
What is one of the most interesting insights that you've pulled recently across one of your clients using AI? Because that's the other thing too. The AI gives you visibility at a level that we've never experienced before, because the computations are so fast and so complex. And if you prompt it right, some insights could come out of it.
Yeah, I think we always follow up with our customers. So the way our system works is we're giving humans more information. Humans continue on in this process and make the final hiring decision. So we can show them, the ROI, really straightforward. Here's how we ranked that candidate list. Here's who you hired, and here's what ended up happening with those people. Did they perform better? Did they stick around longer? And inevitably we see that, right? Like the people we recommended were better for the job, and they were a better match. So I think, we're seeing a lot of those great results, and a lot of that is reflected in diversity numbers as well. Like once you just have consistency, AI or no,
Right.
get more diverse candidates into the funnel without even, there's no bumping diverse candidates or anything like that. It's just straight across. Taking out a lot of the human decision making helps those diverse candidates get further along. So we see a lot of that. We did a survey this year. Actually, we do a survey every year with candidates and hiring teams, and we did one specifically this year on AI. And a lot of things that came across were interesting. People are just getting a lot more comfortable with AI. It's really clear. A lot of people are using it, and
Yep.
they are accepting it.
Adaptation. Lindsay, leave us with some alpha here. Leave us with maybe something that you're building based on these insights. What's coming next from HireView?
A lot of generative AI stuff that I'm excited about, engaging with candidates and helping them find jobs. So these systems are really powerful at doing tasks that have been hard for humans to do for a long time, like parsing a resume or building a skills taxonomy. So I'm really excited about how that future technology is going to help us move from this kind of one person per requisition model to a more multidimensional space where candidates can be assessed.
On
And
the
we have a lot
unicorn.
of data on them and help them find a job that works.
Let's find those unicorns. Lindsay, I want to thank you so much for joining us. Where could folks find more? Where could they connect?
HireView.com, and I am on LinkedIn as well, so reach out to me.
Lindsay, this has been great. Thank you so much for joining us this morning, and we hope to see you back soon on the show. This has been a good segment.
Have a good day.
Take care. And we would not be broadcasting to you live every Tuesday morning without our friends over at ERIN. And they are the employee referral app that you need to check out. You need to check it out. And if you want some ERIN swag, where's my squishy ball? If you want some ERIN swag, like our squishy balls, just hit us off in the comments.
My favorite thing on my desk.
Yeah, go over to purpleacorn.io/free.
I should have been a sloth for Halloween.
I know, but we have something, maybe a surprise if I could figure out that costume. It's a big one. It's a big one.
Oh.
Yeah, we're going to have to figure that out. We're going to get some good content of it. I want to thank ERIN. I want to thank Mike and the whole team over there. We appreciate your support. Everyone, please check out ERIN. All about internal referrals. They're important. There's nothing better than an employee who's an advocate of your brand, who's reaching out to their friends, family, network, and I'm saying, hey, I work at a great place. Check it out. We have jobs here. That's what it's all about.
It's all about the next gen.
All about the next gen. Hit us with that ERIN spot.
Good morning, beautiful people. I feel pretty bad that I'm not wearing my costume, but we might have a surprise in a little bit because unfortunately, if I'm wearing my costume, I can't sit in the chair. So, surprises coming up. But let's jump into today's HR weather. And today's HR weather is all about is same day pay the solution to lift some folks out of the financial clouds? Because right now in the US, wage growth is stalling. This year's projected increase is around 3.6%, which is actually a pretty dramatic drop from previous years. And if you add the compounding factor of inflation since the pandemic, timing couldn't be worse for many workers. There's actually a recent survey that says that 49% of workers are struggling to make ends meet before the next payday. And this was really shocking to me. 62% have turned to high interest loans like payday loans. And if there was a Halloween costume for payday loans, it'd probably be the devil because that's what it is, payday loans. I do believe the solution to this is giving instant access to their wages. I think it might be the lifeline they need. And workers definitely agree with 86% surveys say they would prefer same day pay. I think we can all agree we would like to get paid every day. I think it's definitely more than a perk for a lot of folks. It's actually the difference between some of them paying their bills or getting in debt. And in all fairness, this was almost impossible for employers to do in the past. But right now, there's so many providers that are popping up that in the marketplace that offer this service. So I think it is more than a trend. I think it's something that we're going to see moving forward. I think it's going to become a basic benefit. So I've also heard from employers saying, well, if we pay them every day, what happens if they get in more financial distress because they can't manage their own money? That's not your call to make. I think you have to trust your employees that they can earn their wages and spend them in the correct way. I do believe that same day wages, it could be a massive competitive advantage, especially like in high turnover roles like quick service restaurants, warehousing. I do think it would give them just that edge when it comes to attracting and retaining top talent. So if you're looking for a sunnier outlook, same day pay might be the solution. And that's the HR weather. Let's get back to the panel.
Same day pay.
Hello. So what's your thoughts? Same day pay.
Same day pay. I think it works really well. I mean, listen, who doesn't need money right away? Who doesn't need that? And I could see the downside, the other side of it as well too. But I think for a lot of service industry professionals, having that money, it's different types of lifestyles. And I think a lot of folks, if you have a steady paycheck that's bi-monthly, bi-weekly, whatever it is, you could hopefully manage towards that. But a lot of folks in this day and age with inflation and bills, everything skyrocketing, we need that cash immediately. Danielle, what do you think?
Cash is king. I think a lot of these benefit providers, a lot of them were at HR Tech. I spoke to a lot of them. I think this definitely appeals to younger generations who are definitely strapped for cash. So I think it's a great move, and I think it's something easy that you can offer people. That it's like, yeah, why? Like, it's kind of one of those examples of something where after so many years of doing something the same way, like every 2 weeks you get paid, it's like, why were we doing it that way?
Interest, making money.
Yeah, I'm really surprised that this has not been more common, especially in the last couple of years, as these providers have popped up. Like, there's so easy, and I think it's really cost efficient for a lot of companies to do this. So I do think this is going to become a basic benefit for a lot of employers, and maybe not all industries. Obviously, we're pretty used to getting paid every 2 weeks or every month, but definitely, like, think about warehousing, think about Amazon, like those type of warehousing jobs where turnover is almost 100%. Would this keep more employees? I do think so.
I think it will too. I mean, you also think of the other side too. Not every company is in Amazon with the cash flow that they do. You have to think about companies with their accounts receivable and the way they bookkeep it too. I think that there's a lot of factors here. But to your point with technology, it is so easy to pay people quickly. I mean, I have an overseas team. I pay them. It hits their bank account in minutes. I mean, we live in such a flat world right now, right? Like, where it's so easy, interconnected world, where it's so easy to send money all the time. The tech is here. Let's use it.
Nikki in the comments is saying that we should educate employees in financial wellness. And I
Huge.
agree with that, especially new people in the workplace that first time to receive a massive paycheck, they're like, oh, let's spend it all. I do think there needs more education in the workplace, but especially in school, right? Like, I don't know why we're not teaching financial literacy throughout your high school. I think it should be one of the primary things that you learn for the real world, but there's not much we can do about that.
No, keep it going.
Yeah,
Serge,
replace calculus with with
No, it's
financial
smart.
literacy.
I think it's critically important. I think it should be taught along with health in all the schools as well there too. Serge, what's the weather looking like for Halloween coming up here? Do you guys celebrate Halloween in Canada?
Of course we do. And so the weather is actually going to be pretty cold here in Canada. It's going to
Shocker.
be right at 0, which is around 30 degrees Fahrenheit. So
Brr.
I know my kids are going to be bundled up to go around the houses. But the weather in New York actually is going to be pretty nice for the rest of the week. I
It's
just
gonna be
took a look.
gorgeous.
So
Gorgeous.
it's going to be great for your kids.
I love a nice warm Halloween. I usually wear this outfit because I could just be in costume and it keeps me warm. But I think I might have a little surprise for Thursday. We'll see. Serge, do you have a surprise?
I do have a surprise. I have a special costume that I got in the mail and I actually showcased it yesterday on Daniel's post because I look pretty damn cute. So the world needs to see that.
How do we see that?
Just go on
Go
Daniel's.
to my post.
My God. Annabelle, look at that. Oh my God.
It's the greatest thing in the world.
That is incredible. Well, Serge, we want to wish you a very, very happy Halloween. Thank you for the weather report. Anything else? Did we miss anything?
We didn't miss anything. I hope everyone has a great Halloween and the weather looks great across the world. So everyone trick-or-treating, have fun and be safe, right?
Be safe. Kids, look before you cross the road, across the street. Don't take unwrapped candy. Parents, check all the candy. The other part is always weird about Halloween. We tell our kids not to talk to strangers. Then we send them off to knock on every freaking door. So I have to chase my little guy. I do know I have to chase him because some houses I'm like, don't knock on that door. That house.
I don't
is
trust those people.
I just don't. They got a meth lab in the back.
Also, employers, let people go early on Thursday.
Yes. I know.
That's a good point. Yep. Danielle, are you trick-or-treating or are you old enough now that you don't? I forget what age group you're in.
I would flip you the bird, Serge, but I'm not going to do that on live air.
Serge,
love you to know.
Serge, thank you so much. Catch Serge's weather report every Tuesday exclusively right here on the HR Morning Show. And it's time for one of our favorite segments. It's HR Pause. Right? Yeah, sure.
I think we have another caller.
Wait a minute.
Before we go to pause.
Oh, hold on. Caller?
Hello, welcome. Oh, I can't see you. Here we go. Okay. Let's wait. Technical difficulties. I see you, but I don't see you. Technical difficulties. Let's do it.
Zelda is looks like is cold, and it's a cold dog.
Zelda looks like a puppy.
Is that a German Shepherd? Is that a German Shepherd puppy?
German Shepherd puppy.
I love German Shepherds.
So
my God bless my late brother who had multiple German Shepherds. 2 of them were great. One of them was a psycho. But when these dogs are the most loyal, amazing dogs, I love German Shepherds. This one is especially cute. Check out Zelda over there. I want to thank our friends over at This Way Global. Definitely check out Sully's Sandbox, their new and impactful AI tools. You can scan that little code there. You could find out more. Erica, your dog is awesome. I love German Shepherds.
So cute. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Do you have a dog?
I don't. I really want a dog. I have doggy fever.
But do you think with all your travel and everything, is that fair to the dog?
No, that's why I haven't gotten a dog.
Well, the Posners are down with OPP. We're down with other people's pets.
Yes.
And we love pets. I love pets. I'm allergic to cats. I actually really kind of like cats. I
don't like cats.
highly allergic to them. I think they're super cool. But unfortunately, we can't. But we do like certain dogs, and we'll occasionally pet sit here and there. But I don't need one. I got two little pets, two little kids. I'm sorry, pets, kids, whatever you want to call them at home, that take a lot of my time.
Freudian slip.
And but my kids love them. So I want to give another shout out to our friends over at This Way Global. Selly Sandbox is super cool. They got a whole bunch of impactful tools. Booth, do we have Eric Siobhan with us? Are we good? No, we are not good there. So
Not good.
let's see what else we got going on here. Let's talk about the podcast for a minute here. I want to talk about some shows. I want to talk about some shows. I am 3/4 of the way done right now with our shows from HR Tech. I have a great one coming out today. It's a friend of the HR Morning Show. Her name is Lydia Wu. We're going to get into AI, but we're going to have real talk around AI, around does every company need it? And then once they say, oh my God, we got to spend all this money, and then what? How do you keep up with it? How do you make sure that you have the right employees trained and qualified and skilled to use the technology? And then how do you upkeep it, right? Like, how do you ensure that you're supporting that AI tech? How are you building the rest of the infrastructure? And more importantly, what are you doing with it? Like, what are you doing with that tech? Incredible shows. Ben Moniz from Fama. We have Higher Road CEO John Fetterman. Tomorrow, their CRO Matt O'Connor drops. And then next week, to close it all out, I absolutely love it, CEO of Smart Recruiters, Rebecca Carr. And our friends over at Chat and Cheese were kind enough to let me record at their booth over there. But I do think we have Siobhan back on here. I think we're good to go. So let's give that another try. Hold on. I hear something.
Caller. Oh my gosh. Wow. Incredible. That is so good. I think you just one-upped me in my costume.
How does it look on camera though? I'm maybe
it
not
looks
sure.
It looks freakishly real.
All right, I can't talk with that. Hey, surprise.
Here you are. Hello.
Thanks so much.
No, what an entrance. What a grand entrance. I think that's what you were doing. You were preparing to bring that on camera. Well, welcome.
Yes.
Welcome, Siobhan. It's so good to see you virtually now. So for anyone who doesn't know you, can you give a little intro? Tell us who you are, what you do, and where you are.
Yeah, I'm Siobhan Lindley. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Ion Learning. I'm in San Diego, California. And Ion is a peer learning experience platform or an enterprise solution for companies to take any training program they have and make it social and collaborative. So we have an AI-powered algorithm that matches learners into peer learning groups, and they have to hold each other accountable to complete training programs over time. And so we're creating support and accountability with scalable learning for global distributed teams, which hasn't really ever been done before.
Incredible. And I personally am a huge fan of collaborative learning and cohort-based learning. I think it is honestly one of the best ways to learn if you're going to learn virtually, if not the best. I think it is the best. But also you had a big event last week, which I was lucky enough to attend, and you were celebrating the launch of a new course. Can you tell us a little bit about that and about like the kind of the collaboration that you guys did?
Yeah, so cool. We have, Ion we started off by building some courses of our own so that people could really, in organizations, get off the bat really quickly with training and development. And so, but really our model is around taking any client's training and making sure that we increase the value of any investment that they've already made. So, we really look at getting other people's content and making it scalable across an organization. But there's, building this company
has been exciting and exhausting. And, it's taken a lot to build this thing. So we've had to learn a lot of skills of ourselves to take care of ourselves, our mental health, our wellness, our well-being. These are things that have taken 10 years to really cultivate. And I got introduced through a mutual client to Coley Jaswell, who's the CEO of Ignition Coaching. Her and her company, they've coached 2,000 leaders across the globe and in resilience and how to navigate change while taking care of yourself, particularly in the workplace. And when I heard her talk about these skills, and she said we distilled it down to these 4 key concepts called WAVE, it was like we knew immediately that this concept, this idea of the WAVE model needed to be a scalable training program delivered in peer learning groups on the ION platform. And so we've been in the lab building and creating and ionizing, as we call it, this content to make it social and collaborative. And I am we're so excited. We went to New York. We threw a big launch party at a social wellness club called Remedy so that people could have wellness and technology in the same environment and really experience firsthand how, when you take care of yourself, you're able to take even better care of others along the way. And so being able to prioritize your well-being and creating a space for heads of HR, chief people officers, heads of learning to kind of come together in an intimate setting and experience it. And then we may have gotten a billboard in Times Square. So it was super fun to also just like see it all up in lights for, helping. I mean, I've heard it on this show today. Burnout is real, and we've all experienced significant amounts of it all across the globe, and connection and what can we in connection with others and skill building around how to take care of ourselves and prioritize ourselves are things that a lot of times many of us have had a lot of struggles with getting habits that we know we need to do to stick. And our platform is just extraordinary at being able to get to behavior change in a very quick period of time.
Right. And I feel like such a big part of that too is accountability, right? And what better time, to be honest? You have a generation coming into work that is so ready to talk about mental health, even in the workplace, and is like willing to open up about it. And you have generations that are kind of warming up to the idea. Time to introduce this kind of collaborative learning environment where it's very intergenerational in nature, just due to your algorithm and how you match people. Which, by the way, can you tell us a little bit more about how you create these groups within ION?
Absolutely. So we use 21 different dimensions of diversity to match learners into small groups. So people are typically familiar with cohorts, which is basically a group of people who go through a training program over time. We take it a step further, and our entire platform is based on small group learning theory that's been proven since the 60s, which is basically we learn best in small groups of about 3 to 5 people. And a lot of companies put people in peer groups or study groups. We've done it in school, but there's never been a technology platform to scale learning in this way. So our algorithm matches off of diversity, cross-gender, age, ethnicity, personality profile. We make sure, though, that there's enough connection points around, obviously, like languages that they speak, time zones that they're in, the level in the organization. There's definitely ways that our algorithm ensures that it's the optimal amount of diversity. And then once these individuals are in a small group of 3 to 4, they have to hold each other accountable, like you said. So what that means is that if anybody in the peer learning group doesn't do the training, whether it's a live event or a micro e-learning, or if they don't meet with their peer group for a discussion, no one progresses to the next module in the course. We're literally the first platform in the world to use accountability of the only way of which you progress. And because of that, we've taken completion rates for online learning that in the industry is still only 15%, and we make it over 95%. And we've done this with thousands and thousands of people, largest cohorts, the things that companies didn't even think were possible to send this many learners through and to get the results that we do. I mean, it's very common for us to see a 10% increase in engagement in less than 6 months.
So incredible. I'm honestly blown away by some of those numbers, and I'm really excited about what you have going on, and also what you're thinking about next in terms of obviously you've had this big launch. But like, where are you going next with the curriculum that you're building? What are you looking into now?
Well, we're always forecasting out what do we believe, stay really close to our clients around the challenges that they're faced with. And since we work with a lot of global organizations, the things that we're looking at are things like cultural intelligence. Like, how do we work better across the globe in other industries? Not necessarily of course, it's through the lens of diversity, equity, and inclusion, because we're working globally, but doesn't have to use that language. Really, just how do we communicate and collaborate with people who are different more effectively and respecting their differences? And that has proven to be one of the biggest stalling factors for companies. They think they're going to grow, they invest in all this money to go in all these countries, and then they're like, oh my God, our people can't communicate at all. Like, not just on talking language, just being able to understand each other as humans effectively. And this has been something that this is why we have the United Nations. Like, we're trying to bring these people together to communicate more effectively. We just don't know how. And so we're really excited about using our platform as an engine with the right curriculum to help create those connections in a small enough environment where psychological safety can develop as quickly as possible. We're also looking at, just like neurodiversity and all of these different ways that have been just really challenges for us, that if we can cross these barriers, communication, collaboration, innovation, we're this human connection piece that's critical to us succeeding in the future of work. We believe that, our platform can help facilitate that.
Incredible. I love it. And where can people find you?
ionlearning.com is the website, and I'm on LinkedIn as well, and at Siobhan Lindley.
Awesome. And is there anything else you want to leave our audience with before we part ways?
I mean, honestly, I would just say take a deep breath today before you go into your next meeting. Center yourself, get in touch with, like, what's best for me right now? Do I need a break? Do I need to take a deep breath? Do I need to step outside? Anytime we can just take a pause, we're going to help, like, center ourselves and just and put ourselves in a position to be able to help make the right next step.
Oh, I love that. Do something for you today. You heard that, folks. You heard it here first on the HR Morning Show and with Siobhan. Thank you so much for joining us. Always a pleasure to see you.
Yes, thank you.
Well, that was fun today, Danielle.
It's so fun.
Uncle and Kid Sis holding down the fort while Joel is over in the UK.
He missed out.
And hopefully he has a great wedding. I know there's a family wedding out there. Enjoy some family time out there. We will be back next Tuesday. It's election day. Geez, we're gonna have an election day.
Crazy.
We're gonna dress as our favorite corrupt politician. That's what we're not gonna do here. But I want to thank everybody on behalf of Danielle, Joel, myself, the entire crew. Thank you, everyone, for spending your mornings with us on the HR Morning Show. You can catch us every Tuesday, 10 a.m. here on the East Coast. I don't even know how early that is on the West Coast. But if you're tuning in, we appreciate you.
7.
Please continue to chime off in the comments. We will be keeping a track on that as the show goes. You can watch the replay. You can catch us at purpleacorn.io. Catch us on Spotify, YouTube, wherever you listen to your podcast. That's where it's all about. Danielle, any last words before we sign off?
Have a spooky, scary Halloween.
Yes. Have a great
and
Halloween.
Enjoy the time with the kiddos.
Enjoy the time with your friends and your family. Be safe out there. And catch us next Tuesday for the HR Morning Show. Take care, everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye.